You woke up this morning and something inside you whispered no. Not to the day itself, not to life, but to something else. Something harder to name. The weight in your chest, the heaviness in your limbs. You've called it laziness. Others have called it lack of discipline. But what if I told you this exhaustion is your soul's first honest word in years? There's a particular kind of tiredness that has nothing to do with how much sleep you got. It's the fatigue that settles into your bones when you've been living a life that isn't quite yours. When the person you show the world and the person you are inside have drifted so far apart that the distance itself becomes exhausting. Jung understood something that the productivity gurus never will. Sometimes the psyche withdraws its energy not because something is wrong with you, but because something is wrong with the life you're living. Your soul isn't broken. It's refusing to power a performance. Think about it. You can force yourself through another day, another meeting, another obligation. But there's a part of you that simply won't cooperate anymore. That part isn't your enemy. It's actually your most loyal ally. It's the one that remembers who you really are beneath all the should and supposed to and have to. Modern culture has taught us to worship motion and condemn stillness. We've been conditioned to believe that to stop is to fail, that rest equals laziness, that silence is something to fear and fill. But here's what gets lost in all that noise. The psyche has its own rhythms, its own seasons, and just like nature, it requires periods of dormancy to prepare for new growth. What we're about to explore isn't comfortable. It challenges everything you've been taught about productivity success and what it means to be a functioning adult. But if you've ever felt like you're living someone else's life, wearing someone else's face, speaking words that don't quite belong to you, then what's coming might change everything. Your desire to lie down isn't the problem. It might actually be the solution your soul has been searching for. Before we go deeper into this journey together, if this perspective resonates with something you've been feeling but couldn't name, hit that like button and subscribe. Your support helps this reach other souls who need to hear it. Let me tell you about psychic energy, though, not the way Freud understood it. For Jung, libido wasn't just sexual drive. It was life force itself, the current that animates everything we do. And here's what he discovered when that energy withdraws from your outer life, from your job, your routines, your social obligations. It isn't disappearing, it's descending, moving inward into the unconscious, where transformation actually happens. There's a crucial distinction we need to make here. Depression. The clinical kind is a closing down, but there's another kind of darkness that Jung recognized as initiatory. It's not pathology, it's purpose. Your psyche pulling you into the depths because something needs to die before something new can be born. The first pattern of sacred stillness shows up as what I call the false self's collapse. You've been wearing a mask for so long that you've forgotten it's a mask. Jung called this the persona, the complicated system of relations between who you are and who society needs you to be. The professional identity, the good daughter or devoted son, the strong one who never breaks. But here's what happens. That mask requires enormous energy to maintain. And eventually, if the distance between your persona and your authentic self grows too wide, the psyche stages a rebellion. You wake up one day, and you simply cannot put that mask on anymore. Not won't. Cannot. Your soul has gone on strike. I knew someone once, a successful attorney, who described it perfectly. One Monday morning, he physically could not get out of bed. Not exhausted from overwork, something deeper. He said it felt like his body was refusing to animate a life that wasn't his. 3 months later, after finally listening to that refusal, he left law and became a woodworker. The energy returned, but only when it had something authentic to flow through. Here's the uncomfortable truth: your exhaustion might be the sanest response to an insane situation. When everything around you demands that you be less than you are, smaller than you are, quieter than you are, your body simply stops cooperating. It's not weakness, it's wisdom you haven't consciously recognized yet. The second pattern appears as the weight of unmourned grief. Sometimes your tiredness isn't about now at all. It's about then. The loss you never properly acknowledged. The relationship that ended, but you kept moving. The dream that died, and you just stepped over it. The psyche doesn't forget. It holds space for what hasn't been honored. Frozen grief locks up tremendous amounts of energy. Think of it like water that should be flowing, but has turned to ice. Your soul says, "I will not let you rush forward until you feel what you haven't felt. Until you cry the tears you've been too strong to shed. Until you rage at the injustice you've been too polite to name." After Jung broke with Freud, he entered what he later called his confrontation with the unconscious. For years, he withdrew from the world, descended into his own depths, dialogued with the strange figures and images that emerged. From the outside, it looked like a breakdown. From the inside, it was a breaking open. His entire life's work emerged from that darkness. You might be in your own confrontation right now. The world calls it burnout or depression. But what if it's actually your initiation? What if this darkness is preparing you for a life you can't even imagine yet from where you're standing? The third pattern belongs to those who feel everything. The empaths, the sensitive ones, the people who absorb the emotions of everyone around them. If this is you, your exhaustion comes from boundary collapse. You've taken on too much that isn't yours. The collective pain, the family wounds, the world's chaos. Your nervous system is drowning in information it was never meant to process. This fatigue is your psyche, trying to rebuild the membrane between self and other, to remember where you end and others begin. The withdrawal isn't antisocial, it's survival. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is practice what Jung called the sacred selfishness that heals. These patterns aren't problems to fix with better time management or morning routines. They're invitations, your soul calling you downward into territory you've been avoiding. And what you'll find there isn't emptiness. It's everything you've been missing. Now we enter the liminal space, the fourth pattern, the threshold between who you were and who you're becoming. This is the chrysalis stage, and it's excruciating because you're neither anymore. The old identity has dissolved, but the new one hasn't formed yet. You're liquid, undefined, vulnerable. Every mythology tells this story. Persephone dragged into the underworld before becoming queen of both realms. Christ in the tomb before resurrection. Jonah in the belly of the whale dissolved by digestive darkness before being reborn on shore. The pattern is always the same: descent, dissolution, emergence. But here's what our culture doesn't tell you. You cannot rush this stage. If you try to force your way out of the chrysalis too early, you abort the transformation. The darkness isn't a detour from your path. The darkness is the path. What feels like being lost is actually being found by something deeper than your conscious mind. Think about what happens inside that chrysalis. The caterpillar doesn't just grow wings, it completely liquefies. Its entire structure breaks down into primordial soup before reorganizing into something that can fly. You're in the soup right now, and it's supposed to feel like dissolution. That's not failure, that's metamorphosis. The fifth pattern strikes artists, creators, anyone whose soul speaks through making. When your creative fire has no outlet, when you're spending all your energy on the practical and the responsible and the safe, that unused creative libido turns inward. It curdles into depression, becomes fatigue, burns you from the inside because it cannot burn outward into expression. There's a hunger in you that grocery stores cannot satisfy, a longing that relationships cannot fill. Your soul wants to make something, to express something, to bring something through you that has never existed before. And when you ignore that call long enough, your entire system shuts down in protest. But we need to be honest here about the shadow side. There's a difference between authentic soul withdrawal and neurotic avoidance, between conscious descent and unconscious collapse. How do you tell the difference? Check your relationship with the darkness. Are you exploring it, dialoguing with it, staying present to it? Or are you just numbing it with screens and substances and sleep? Jung made a crucial distinction between active and passive imagination. Active imagination means you're descending intentionally with awareness. You're dialoguing with the figures in your inner world. Passive imagination is just getting swallowed by chaos. One is transformative. The other is just drowning. The alchemists whom Jung studied obsessively mapped this process centuries ago. They called the first stage nigredo, the blackening, the necessary decay that precedes rebirth. You have to let the old form die completely before the new form can emerge. Your bedroom right now, your couch, wherever you've been lying still. That's the alchemical vessel, the sealed container where transformation occurs. The alchemists understood something modern. Psychology is only beginning to grasp. Transformation requires containment. You can't rush the process. You can't optimize it. You have to seal yourself in the vessel and trust that the heat, the pressure, the darkness are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're breaking down what needs to break down so something new can crystallize. During his own nigredo, Jung withdrew to his tower in Bollingen. He spent years there, painting, writing, dialoguing with the strange contents of his own unconscious. He emerged with the Red Book, with his theory of archetypes, with a map of the psyche that would change psychology forever. But he could never have created any of it without first surrendering to the darkness. This is when your dreams intensify. When you stop moving through the outer world, the inner world gets louder. The unconscious finally has your attention. Pay attention to the symbols. Water often represents the unconscious itself. Caves and underground spaces signal the womb of rebirth. Snakes mean transformation. Death in dreams usually means ego. Death, not literal death. Something in your false self dying so your true self can emerge. Your psyche speaks in the oldest language. Images, not words. Symbols, not concepts. And right now, while you're lying still, it's speaking more clearly than it has in years. Are you listening? Neuroscience has started catching up to what mystics always knew. When you rest, your brain's default mode, network, activates. This is the system that integrates memory, processes, emotion, creates meaning. The brilliant insights that come in the shower or on aimless walks. That's not distraction. That's your brain finally having the space to make connections it couldn't make while you were busy. Your body has been trying to teach you the psychology textbooks haven't learned yet. So how do you work with this? How do you listen to what your soul is saying through the fatigue? Start with 3 questions. First, what in my life is demanding I become smaller than I am? What relationships, jobs, or obligations require you to dim your light, shrink your truth, edit your authentic self? Name them. Your exhaustion is pointing directly at them. Second, what grief, rage, or truth have I been too strong to feel? What have you been carrying that you never set down? What tears are still waiting to be cried? Your body remembers everything you tried to forget. Third, what is the unlived life that wants to be born through me? If you stripped away all the should and supposed, to what would you do? Who would you become? Your fatigue is making space for that answer. Jung developed a practice he called active imagination. It's not meditation. It's not visualization. It's something more direct. You dialogue with the figures and forces in your inner world as if they're real, because in the realm of psyche they are. Try this. Your exhaustion is a presence. Give it a voice. Imagine it sitting across from you. Now write, "Dear exhausted self, I'm finally listening. What do you need to tell me?" Then let your hand move. Don't think. Don't edit. Let whatever comes, come. You'll be shocked by what your depths want to say when you finally give them permission. You might write for 5 minutes and find nothing but rambling. Then on day 3, a sentence appears that feels like it came from somewhere else. A truth you didn't know you knew. An image that carries more meaning than you can articulate. That's your unconscious beginning to trust you enough to speak clearly. Notice which archetype is activated in you right now. The hermit withdraws to find wisdom in solitude. The wounded healer descends to bring medicine back for others. The philosopher contemplates as a sacred act. Which of these resonates? They each carry different gifts from the darkness. Create what Jung called a temenos, a sacred container for your stillness. This isn't about aesthetics, it's about intentionality. A corner of your room, a specific chair, a particular time of day. Somewhere, your psyche knows here I can drop the mask. Here, I can be unfinished. Here, I can just be. And learn the difference between rest and numbing. Rest is sitting with tea and nothing else. Walking without destination or podcast. Staring at walls is spiritual practice. Numbing is scrolling until your eyes glaze. Binging shows you won't remember, filling every silence with noise because you're terrified of what might surface in the quiet. Real rest makes you feel more yourself. Numbing makes you feel less. Your body knows the difference even when your mind tries to convince you otherwise. Use this pause to meet what you've been running from. The parts of yourself you've exiled. The anger that wasn't acceptable. The grief that wasn't convenient. The desires that weren't practical. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your exhaustion delivered you to this threshold. Now you have to cross it. Notice the voice in your head calling you lazy. Whose voice is it really? Your father's? Your culture's? Some internalized critic who never sleeps. That voice isn't you. It's what's been installed in you. You can learn to separate your authentic self from these borrowed judgments. The psyche operates on what Jung called the principle of compensation. When consciousness becomes too one-sided, the unconscious compensates by pulling in the opposite direction. If you've been all action, all productivity, all outward focus, your soul will drag you into stillness. Rest inward attention. Not to punish you, to balance you. And then watch for the signs that the incubation is complete. Dreams of sunrise birth flowers or journeys. Unexpected energy for things that feel true rather than obligated. A quiet knowing in your body that says yes to something it's been saying no to. Clarity about what must change. The seasons of the psyche don't follow calendars. They follow readiness. When you emerge, you and your soul are no longer strangers. You've made the descent and returned with medicine. This is what individuation means. Not becoming better, becoming real. Not who you should be, but who you actually are beneath all the conditioning and compromise. The energy comes back, but pay attention. It doesn't power the same life anymore. The phoenix doesn't return to the nest that burned. You can't go back to business as usual because you're not the usual you anymore. Something fundamental has shifted. There's a difference between living from ego and living from self. Ego is the small self, the persona, the adaptation to collective expectations. Self with a capital S is the totality, the organizing center, the part of you that was never broken, that was orchestrating this entire descent to bring you home. After the darkness, you serve something larger than your old ambitions. You stop asking, "How can I be successful?" and start asking, "How can I be true?" This is the hidden motivation woven through this entire journey. Not to be more productive, not to be more disciplined, but to be authentic, to be whole, to become who you actually are instead of who you were programmed to be. Your relationship with your body transforms too. It's no longer the enemy that betrayed you by getting tired. It's the oracle that saved you by refusing to lie anymore. You learn to honor its rhythms as sacred intelligence, to listen when it whispers instead of waiting for it to scream. You start to notice how your body responds to different people, situations, choices, a tightness in your chest around certain relationships, an opening and expansion when you're doing work that feeds your soul. Your body becomes your compass, pointing always toward authenticity, and something ripples outward. When two personalities meet, if there's any genuine contact, both are transformed. When you honor your own depths, you give others permission to honor theirs. Your authentic exhaustion becomes more healing to witness than your fake energy ever was. You become a permission slip for other souls. People will notice something different about you. Not that you're happier necessarily, but that you're realer, more present, less performed. Some will be drawn to that authenticity. Others will be threatened by it. Both responses tell you what you need to know. But understand this: the descent will come again. That's not failure. That's life. The path isn't linear, it's spiral. Each time you circle back to darkness, you go deeper. You retrieve more of yourself. You integrate more shadow. You become more whole. Build trust in the cycle. Your soul knows what it's doing. So what does a life look like that honors the soul, not perfect, not always productive, but aligned, true? Work that feeds you rather than drains you. Relationships that allow your fullness instead of requiring your fragments. Solitude that feels nourishing rather than lonely. A rhythm that matches your actual nature instead of someone else's idea of success. It means saying no to things that once seemed important, but now feel hollow. It means disappointing people who loved the version of you that was smaller, safer, more convenient. It means choosing truth over comfort, authenticity over approval, your soul's yes over the world's should. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who your parents wanted, not who your culture demanded, not who you thought you should be, but who you are beneath all of that. Your actual self, raw and real and irreducibly yours. To those of you lying still right now, carrying guilt for your exhaustion, wondering what's wrong with you, nothing is wrong with you. Your soul isn't punishing you, it's protecting you. This pause isn't the end of your story. It's the comma before the most important chapter. The one where you finally stop performing and start living. Trust the timing of your transformation. Trust that your psyche knows what it's doing, even when your conscious mind is confused. Trust that the darkness is not empty, but full of exactly what you need. The answers you're seeking aren't out there in some book or course or guru. They're in the stillness you've been running from. The world doesn't need another person pretending to have it all together. The world needs you whole, authentic, fully alive in your own skin. And sometimes to get there, you have to lie down. You have to stop. You have to listen to the voice that's been whispering beneath everything. Come home to yourself. Your exhaustion was the invitation. Your stillness is the ceremony. Your transformation is already beginning. Rest now. The soul is working. And when it's ready, when you're ready, you'll rise. Not forced, not faked, but natural as spring after winter. Inevitable as dawn. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the life you were always meant to live. The one where you finally give yourself permission to be exactly who you are. Share your experience in the comments. Your story might be the permission someone else desperately needs to hear. And subscribe to continue this journey of becoming real, of becoming whole, of becoming yourself.